Now we are going to study about human skeleton, few introductory slides, and then we are going to understand about the joints, the type of joints that are present in our skeletal system which enable the movement that is responsible for locomotion. And you know that our topic of study and concern is locomotion. So basically it is the skeletal system along with the muscular system which is responsible for bringing about the movement. And in terms of bones, when we talk about the skeletal system, apart from providing the center of mass, position of center of mass where the entire mass would come and rest of the fulcrum and liver bases that the bone performs, it also performs the function of providing the movement in terms of the joints which are moving. So we are going to understand that, but before that we are going to see what is the function of skeletal, what are the skeleton, what are the entire types of bones that we have in our body, and what are the types of joints, different types of joints that are present. So one by one we see the functions of skeleton. As you can see, the first function is providing protection. You see that we have two types of skeletons, that is the axial and appendicular skeleton. We have studied about it, and what we see is the main purpose is protection. You see over here, this is the cranium and this is the facial part of the, basically this is the cranium, this is the part of skull which comprises of the facial bones. So this cranium is providing the protection to your brain, and brain is very important. So the part of head that provides protection to brain is known as cranium. The rib cage is providing the protection to another important part of central nervous system, that is spinal cord. And you know that whenever there is an injury in rib cage, the person cannot move for entire life because the spinal cord is damaged. So this I'm sorry, it's not the rib cage, it's the vertebral column I'm talking about over here. In the case of spinal cord, it is the vertebral column, and what is mentioned over here, the rib cage, it protects the visceral organs like our heart and lungs are protected by the rib cage, which acts like a cage and protects the visceral organs, which are very delicate organs, of course. And I did discuss about spinal cord, which is enclosed in the vertebral column, and that vertebral column is very important for providing flexibility as well as the protection to the spinal cord. Then the second function is the shape. Our body will be a lump of meat, basically. It would be a slimy meat mass, as you see in the case of a snail, or you would see in the case of an earthworm. It would be like that if it does not have a skeleton. So it is providing a shape to the body. Then the third function is that of blood production. We know that the blood is produced in the long bones and bone marrow, and then there is calcium storage. Bone is the reservoir of calcium and phosphorus, and then we have movement that I discussed about. So these are the 6 different functions that our skeleton performs. Now because we are confined to understanding of bones, so the next thing that we have in our topic is the classification of bones. How many types of bones are there? There are 4 types of bones, as you can see over here. One is long bones. Take the example of your thigh bone. The longest bone in your body is that present in your thigh, that is known as femur. They have given the example of humerus, that is this bone which is the long bone of your arm. So we have long bones. Then the second type of bones is the short bones. As you know that there are 8 bones present in the small area of your wrist which takes the movement. So these are the carpals of the wrist, which are short bones, very small bones. And then we have flat bone. The flat bones example is the sternum, in which the ribs come and articulate. So we have the example of sternum in it. And then we have irregular bones. Irregular bones is the example is the vertebral column. The bones are of an irregular shape. There is an articulation of ribs in the vertebral column as well. So these are the types of bones that are present in our body, the 4 different types of bones, and we have seen in detail what different types of bones are present in the axial and appendicular skeleton. Now before I come to this synovial joint structure, I need you to understand that how many types of joints are over here. We are considering the movement part, and the movement is brought about by joints, and the type of joints which bring about the movement are the synovial joints. But before that, what we have to see is that there are 3 types of joints. That we have immovable joints. First one is immovable joints, and the other name for these is fibrous joints. Example is those present in your skull. You cannot move your skull at all because the sutures which are present in the skull, which join the bones of your skull, they are immovable and they are formed by fibrous connective tissue, and those are fibrous joints which are present in skull. The second type of joints is cartilaginous joints, which are slightly movable. All right. Now, the example of cartilaginous joints is those which are present in our vertebral column, slightly movable. You can bend forward, you can bend backwards, but to a certain degree, except for those who are highly flexible. And there are certain people, you might have heard in very famous people, those who can fold themselves in boxes and all, their entire skeleton is made up of cartilage. That is why they are able to fold themselves in a small box of a box shape. Those shown in magic shows and all, they have a cartilaginous skeleton. That is an exception. So we have cartilaginous joint which are slightly movable, and they would be present in the intermediate vertebrae. And the third one is the synovial joint, which is freely movable. So we over here are going to see what a synovial joint looks like. These are nothing but simple pictures taken from Google, so that pictorially you can understand what a synovial joint looks like. These synovial joints, they have this type of structure. These are freely movable joints, and whatever movement you see, this hand movement and moving forward and backward, that movement is brought about the joints which are present in our body, and those are known as synovial joints. Now, what a synovial joint looks like? See, there is an articulation of two bones that is taking place, and in between you see a synovial fluid which brings about the movement. This is one bone, this is another bone. The articulation is to be made in such a way so that the movement can be brought about depending upon the center of mass wherever it lies, because it has to ultimately work as a lever so that the muscle movement could be brought about. Now, I need not to explain you what a lever is, because that is basic understanding, physics understanding that you might have come across in your classes as low as 3rd or 4th grade, I guess. So this is a bone, two bones are present. First thing that you have to see is that there is a joining of muscle known as connective tissue, that is ligament, which joins a bone to bone. This is the ligament, and this is periosteum, that is the lining of the bone. We study the structure of bone. Over there we see periosteum, inside there is bone content. There is a fibrous capsule around the ligament inner towards the synovial cavity. Now, what is a synovial cavity? As we are talking about this particular thing, this is a synovial joint. We see the synovial fluid present between two articulating bones. It is quite clear over here. Still, I would tell you, supposedly this is one bone, they will not join like this. Instead, there would be a gap which would be present between them, that would be filled with a synovial fluid present inside the cavity. This fluid enables the free movement of the joint, and the free movement of the joint is not brought about by the bone, because bone itself is hard. So there is an articular cartilage which is present at the head of the bone, so that the movement could be brought about easily. So this articular cartilage is present at both sides of the bones which are articulating towards each other inside the synovial cavity. And as you can see, the synovial cavity is lined by a synovial membrane inside which the fluid is present. So this is the structure of a synovial joint which enables the movement. Now, because this is out of these, only this type of joint is enabling the movement. So we have different types of synovial joints which are classified according to the need, but before that we have 4 functions which a synovial joint performs. First one is the different parts of the synovial joint, whatever function they are performing, we see that. What is the function of the articular cartilage? This articular cartilage is a hyaline cartilage and it is a little bit flexible, so it prevents the friction between articulating bones. Whenever this cartilage is replaced, you know what happens? It leads to arthritis or it leads to gout, that is highly painful joint disease, because the cartilage has been removed and then the bones, they are responsible for unnecessary friction, which is responsible for further pain. Then we have two-layered joint capsule. We have seen that there was a capsule formed by ligaments. Outer layer is for strengthening the joint, and the inner layer, which has synovial membrane, as you see in the previous diagram. This is the synovial membrane, and the outer layer is having the ligament. This is responsible for, outer one is for strengthening the joint and the inner one is for the secretion of synovial fluid so that the movement could take place. Now, what is that synovial fluid meant for? It is meant for reducing friction. First of all, the friction was reduced by the hyaline cartilage. Apart from that, there needs to be a fluid like substance which should be present so that there is free movement. Okay, it nourishes the articular cartilage, and it gets the joint, the synovial joint, rid of the waste whichever is being formed inside the synovial cavity. And the last one is the ligament, as I told you earlier as well. This ligament is responsible for connecting this particular bone to the next bone. Alright, so the connection between the two bones is maintained by a connective tissue known as ligament, and this ligament connects the two bones, and the freely movable part is taken care by the upper three parts and the functions which are being carried out by these three parts. Now, the next part is how many types of synovial joints are present. In case you are not able to read these, what these are, I am going to speak them, you can note them down. And we have the types of synovial joints, and we have the models of the joint motion represented over here. These arrows represent in which direction the movement can take place. So, what we have over here is there are 6 types of joints that are present. Synovial joints, there would be a synovial fluid as we have discussed. The first type of joint that is present is a gliding joint. The gliding joint is present in this case, as you can take the example of your shoulder. So, this gliding joint, as you can see, the movement and the model of joint motion is in all directions, almost all directions. So, we have vertebrocostal joints. Now, vertebrocostal joints are ones between the ribs and the vertebral column. Then the second example is the one between the clavicle and the one between the carpals and tarsal joints. Now, it is difficult for you to understand this particular movement. What you have to see over here, that the gliding joint is between the acromion. What was acromion? It was a site where the clavicle came and articulated in the appendicular skeleton. So, we have over here the movement in all directions. This happens to be the bone, and the joint is providing the movement in 4 directions. So, this is the gliding joint, as you can see over here. Then the next one is hinge joint. Hinge joint is like the one in case of a door. You have a hinge in a door. In the case of door, you can open it up to 180 degrees Celsius, or you can say it could be opened into 90 degree, almost 90 degree. So, what you see over here is the example is given between this part, okay, humerus and ulna. You can see that this humerus and ulna, the movement could be brought about like this, just like supposedly this is the hinge on which the door is being attached. So, you can open it till here and it can go backwards, not behind this part. So, that is known as hinge joint. As you can see, the movement could be brought about at this part and then it could go this much further, almost 180 degree, but 90 in one perspective. So, the examples for these hinge joints is those of elbow joints. Same as in the case of knee joints. You cannot bring back your leg forward until and unless it is broken, of course. And then we have ankle joints, and we have interphalangeal joints, those between the phalanges. These are also hinge joints. I would request you not to get confused with those in the hands, because there are many bones, there are many types of joints. So, it is better to take the gross example, that is elbow joint, knee joint and ankle joints. Now, this third one is a pivot joint. It is like you are having, supposedly you have to take the example of pen's cap, this one like this. So, this can be rotated like this. consider it as a pivot. As you can see, the pivot is joined at a particular point, and those who play basketball, they must be knowing what is a pivot point. So in case of pivot joint, the movement could be circular, but it will not be again 360 degree. It would be restricted to 180 degree again, and the joint that we have as an example is between atlas and axis. Now what is atlas and axis? Atlas and axis are the first two vertebrae of our vertebral column. So we can rotate our head like this, all thanks to the pivot joint, because I told you the 180 degree movement could be brought about. Then we have the example of ellipsoid joint. Now what is in the case of ellipsoid joint? As you can see over here, there is a point of attachment and the movement could be brought about in 4 directions. Okay, so we have radiocarpal joints, we have metatarsophalangeal joints, metacarpophalangeal joints number 2 and 5. Now it is quite confusing. Just see this thing, that supposedly you are able to bring about such type of movement, that would be ellipsoidal joint. Okay, this is radius, this is ulna, and you are able to bring about movement like this as well. So that is ellipsoidal joint. This won't be pivot because you cannot bring the movement like this. Instead you can rotate it like this. So that is ellipsoidal joint. Then we have the example of saddle joint. Now over here, the example of saddle joint, you know what is a saddle? Those who do horse riding, they can understand it. Saddle is something which is kept on the horse, and when the horse is moving, the person shows the movement of legs like this. So this is the saddle joint movement. The articulation would be such, and the joint movement which would be brought about, that would be in the 4 directions again, and they have given the example of this particular bone over here. So this is the saddle joint that we are having. Okay, the 4 directions are over here, there is a joint present over here, and the first carpo-metacarpal joint is the example of a saddle joint. Last one is ball and socket joint. The biggest example is when this arm is articulating into the shoulder, or we can say the girdle. That is ball and socket joint, like you fit the ball into a socket. And how can the movement be brought about? There are so many directions. You can rotate it like this, you can move it like this, anyways you can move. The ball and socket joint is the shoulder joint and the hip joint, where the ball of your limbs is articulating into the girdles. So these are the 6 types of joints that we have. Last, what we are going to see is a better representation, a clear one that we have.